This episode of Empty Betters is brought to you by DraftKings. The NBA 82 game grid is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40 or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Good morning, everybody, and I mean that seriously this time. Welcome back to episode 259 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes, and I'm going to toss it across the screen to my early bird co-host, Mr. Nick Manella. What's going on?
Good morning, Krusty Crew. How are we doing? Fired up. I mean, what a night of hockey. Just last night alone. I know we've got like a whole weekend to recap, but last night alone, I think was worth the price of admission to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I think so too. And in case you can't hear it in Nick's voice a tiny bit, this actually is a morning recording. Shout out to the fellas for gutting this one out. It's tough staying up to date doing night recordings because these West Coast games go so deep past midnight. So we are recording bright and early, same morning. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host, Mac Vogel. What's going on?
6 a.m., day after Christmas. I put my clothes on in the dark. No, we're chilling. We're doing all right. It is a little earlier here for me. But hey, we're getting after it. I'll probably like actually be on time to work today, so that's kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess. But yeah, stayed up for the tail end of that game last night. Was really happy that it didn't go to a double overtime because I was kind of on fumes, but holy shit, what a night of hockey we had last night. We what, 4 1-goal games. Pretty much each one could have gone to overtime. So it feels like, there were some good games over the weekend, but last night it felt like things really got kicked into gear. So I'm excited to unpack.
Well said.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The Monday night slate was awesome. Gonna read a couple quick news points and then we'll dive right into the playoffs. And when I say read it, that's all we're doing. Shout out to the Rangers. They have fired Peter Laviolette. That experiment is over. I would love to go into that more, but we've got a lot to cover on a strict timeline. And then Seattle Kraken. They fired Dan Bilesma after just one season. Not really sure what they expected this year, but I guess we've got the coaching carousel beginning. But in terms of playoffs, Mac just alluded to it. Last night on Monday, there were 4 1-goal games. Two of them went to overtime. And from the start of the playoffs on Saturday up until last night, Monday night, the home teams are now not, or I'm sorry, the home teams are 8-1 in the playoffs, which is just nuts. I know the home crowd was a big. There's some stat like the percentage of home wins in the regular season this year was the highest it's been in like almost 20 seasons. So that trend is just continuing. But we are going to dive into the Caps to lead this off. And man, what a finish. I would love to hear the reaction to that OV OT winner from you two.
Well, let's start at the beginning. I mean, what a start for the Caps. That first 10 minutes of that first period, I thought was fantastic. Mac alluded to this a little bit last episode. DC is not an easy place to play playoff hockey, and that's exactly what the Washington Capitals did. That building was loud. That building was electric. You could hear it through the broadcast. and the Caps just basically decided, okay, we're going to put every single one of the Habs players through the boards for the first 10 minutes, and that's exactly what they did to set the tone.
Yeah, there's a lot of gimme your lunch money hockey going on early in that game from the Caps, which is what you want to see. Ovi was just freaking stapling people to the glass from the start. Love to see that. I texted you like a few minutes before the game started when they put up the lines, and I just said, it felt really significant that we had a guy like Anthony Beauvillier that we could plug into the top six role somewhere. Harry wants to wants to kill himself, but uh, just at the time when they made that deal, it may have felt insignificant to some Caps fans, and I think I even felt that way to an extent. But when you're missing a guy like Protus for game one of the playoffs, and then you see the lines come out and he's on the top line, you watch that game. He was like a buzzsaw all night long, really fast. His pace of play is just perfect for postseason hockey. He just kind of runs around like there like a madman. So um, yeah, I think he was certainly one of our best players last night.
Yeah, 17th career playoff goal for that guy. That's some pretty insane numbers right there. And I mean, you nailed it. You called it. The guy was just buzzing all night. The speed through the neutral zone was fantastic. I know we were talking a little bit about this yesterday as well. The puck movement for basically the first half of that game. I would say the first period and pretty much like 12 minutes into the second was just fantastic. It's basically the best I've seen the Caps move the puck all year. Um, Kind of fell off towards the end. Don't love that. So hopefully they can reset and hopefully getting Big Pro back helps that a little bit. But definitely saw some good things. I thought LT looked great at times. I can probably be a little bit critical on the tying goal. I don't think you need to like penguin slide through the crease there, going left to right. But
Yeah.
other than that, I thought he looked really, really sharp, especially for his first game back.
I'm with you on that one for sure. And the other thing I'll say is I really do feel like we played a pretty much perfect hockey game for 50 minutes. The turning point was the PLD penalty, which I thought was pretty cheesy. Leads to a power play goal to make it 2-1. And then credit to the Habs. After they made it 2-1, they were all over us for the remainder of that third period. They were clearly the better team to finish that period. And you could just feel it. Like we were gonna surrender that tying goal. So
Exactly. I mean,
obviously,
they kept Caulfield and Suzuki on the ice for like 5 minutes.
yep. And I will say massive to learn a cheap lesson there and face a little bit of adversity in game one, but still come away with the win. I think, if you're Montreal, that's probably exactly how you drew up potentially being able to steal one, right? Tying it late, sending it to overtime, and then having a chance there, and to be able to fend off that kind of victory from them is huge for the guys. So massive win. Oh, last two things I'll say. Sorry, Strome, 3 assists on all three goals. He had the secondary assist on all three goals, which I think some people kind of say like, oh, primary assist is better, but if you really watch those assists, I mean, he is starting the play on all
Yes.
three goals, which is cool to see. And then the other thing I want to say, I saw so many Habs fans like online being like, "Oh, the refs like handed you the game," and I'm like, dude,
They
I
did
don't
the
know
literal
what you are
opposite.
talking about. I think there were plenty of missed calls for both teams. I sat and watched that entire game from start to finish with a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan. Shout out Mitch, he's been on the show, beer enjoyer. And he and I agreed. There was plenty of calls missed for both teams, but in no way did the refs like hand the game to either team. I, you're delusional if you think that. So
Yeah.
just want to get that out there.
While we're talking about officiating, I think you make a great point. It wasn't handed to one team or another. There were two egregious non-calls in that game, in my opinion. Number one is the Carlson trip that happens directly
Yep.
in front of the official.
Should have been a 5-on-3. That was bad.
I don't understand in what world that's not a penalty, especially when it's you just kick the guy's legs out from under him. And then the Anderson one on Wilson during a stoppage in play, also right in front of the official.
Yep.
Craig even said it. He's like, if that's in the first period, I'm sure that's a penalty. So
Yep, and he's right. And I'm sure you could find a couple for the Caps. Like, yeah, Big Al probably should have gotten one for the cross check to Gallagher's chin or
oh, that
whatever,
was just hilarious.
but also like that didn't like hand them the game. It's like a first period miss like whatever. I
Yeah.
think I think they were barking about some non-icing or the icing call that should have been non. I don't know. I didn't think it was anything, but
If you're arguing over an icing call, I don't think you did enough to win the hockey game.
That's probably accurate. I think I was watching this one pretty closely, at least for the first two periods until the Winnipeg game started really getting into stride. But um, I think the Caps, like Max said, played a great overall game. That first period, they pretty much dominated. That could have been way worse if Montembeault wasn't standing on his head. He played pretty well, in my opinion, which at first I thought, holy
yep.
shit, we're gonna get goalied again. Like
I
this is
thought
how
the same thing.
I was like, there's something about Montreal goalies in the first round. Um, yeah, the ending, like, people I saw Caps fans online were just like, of course, because in 2010, apparently in game one, you guys had a 2-0 lead,
Yep.
blew it in the third, and everyone was like revisiting that, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like we're really jumping here. But obviously, the great eight, he gets his first OT winning playoff career goal. What's he got? 2 goals, 3 points, 4 shots, 7 hits, and sent Caulfield into a different stratosphere. So obviously, a huge game for Ovechkin. Uh, for Montreal, like if Demidov isn't going to do anything, which he didn't do anything last night, this is going to be a quick series. They've got one line, and I hate to put it that way, but like in terms of getting quality scoring chances, it's Suzuki and Caulfield and Slav, and that's it. Like in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it is one game, but I do agree with you that, you're probably looking for a little bit more from him out of a game like that. And I think that's probably just adjustment. It's his third NHL game and it's a playoff game, so
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. There's a lot less space out there. So yeah, that power play, I don't understand. It's like you look at that power play with Line A and with Suzuki and with Caulfield and, all those guys that could really wire the puck. They're 31st in the NHL. That those numbers just don't make sense to me. So definitely something the Caps need to be mindful of still is stay out of the box. Because I mean, we're already seeing now, like, I mean, look at how much that's hurting the Senators. I don't want to jump over that series just yet, but that absolutely killed them against the Leafs.
Laine's allergic to skating too. Like this guy doesn't. I was watching. He's got the two hands with the stick, and he's just constantly like floating like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to skate with your
Little
stick
bit
on
of
the ice.
a turnover machine too.
Yeah, yeah. But huge win for the Caps. When do we
Yeah.
have game two here? Is that Wednesday night?
Yep.
Yes. I will say this, great for Ovi. Anthony Beauvillier played unbelievable, but player of the game for me has to be Matt Roy. Looked fantastic. Ice time leader for the Caps was just eating pucks for breakfast without any milk. Just, I mean, that's exactly what you need in the postseason.
Yeah, definitely ate up some minutes that we probably would have seen Marty Farivari on the ice for had he not been injured. So that's big.
Absolutely.
What are we thinking game two prediction wise? Maybe not necessarily a winner, but you think it's like a high scoring, low scoring? You think it's tight? We get a puck line. What are we thinking here?
I kind of think I don't know. I think the way that the Caps won game one, I think it bodes really well for us to maybe be able to get a more comfortable puck line victory on Wednesday.
I'll
Yeah.
buy that.
I
I'll
think you
buy
got to
that
look for something a little bit more decisive. Definitely have to see out the third period a lot better.
Hmm.
for sure. Well, we will hop over to I guess we'll do the Winnipeg series since that was the second game last night. We got fresh games from the memory bank just last evening. So game one, that happened on Saturday. That was the first game of the playoffs that kicked things off, and that was a hell of a game. Winnipeg takes that one 5-3. I would say from the Saturday and Sunday slates, that was probably the best game of the weekend. Great back and forth. Winnipeg got punched in the mouth a little bit. They were down 3-2 going into the third, and then they buckled down. And Kyle Connor, man, this guy hit game-winning goal with like a little over a minute left off a sweet one-timer, and then he did it again in game two. He scored the game-winning goal for the Jets in that one. So, The big guns for the Jets are going full steam. Shifley has what, 5 points in 2 games. Kyle Connor back-to-back game-winning goals. So things are looking good for the Jets right now, up 2-0.
The prophecy is coming to life, boys. I've been saying when we've been previewing this series, I think the Jets are for real. I think the big dogs come to play. I think Hellbuck plays well, Shifley, Connor. It's all happening, and I love to see it. I think that, put it this way. I was watching that game last night, and when the Blues are trying to tie that game and send it into overtime, they've got Bolduc and Snuggerud on the ice, which two very talented players, but I think that in a nutshell is kind of why the Jets will win this series pretty comfortably, is just because the Blues team is just not experienced enough to be able to hang with them. And you've got guys like that. If that's who you're kind of putting your faith in at the end of the game. Again, I'm not trying to say these guys suck or anything. They're world-class players. They're gonna be great in the league for a while to come, but you guys get the sentiment I'm going for here. It's just
Absolutely.
it's
And
it's
they're
apples
both
to oranges.
rookies,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, playoff experience definitely plays a role. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
That being
And
said, Snuggery had a great game last night.
he did. He looked great. Got his first goal, and that was just a clean snipe on Hellebuck, which is saying something. You got the eventually to be three-time Vezina winner, and he beats him point blank. But Winnipeg's just deeper, and that's the bottom line. You look at that third line with Tanev, Lowry, and Appleton. Like they are just destroying people left and right. And Lowry, I had a big goal, I think, in game one. He's chucking the body everywhere in game two. Is he the one who hit Kyrou that hit went viral in the first period?
I think two guys got him at once, right?
It might have
The
been
I
Sandwich.
forget it was either Shen or Lowry, I can't remember, but and then there was the Shen on Shen hit, which was pretty cool
Hilarious.
too. But
And
yeah,
the Logan Stanley hit too. It was it was
it's been a
crazy.
very physical series.
No, that Mac, you nailed it. That Winnipeg team is for real. They're big and they are scary good.
I think the big thing for me is like Hellebuck, maybe not the best game in game one, and everybody started being like, here we go again. It's playoff Hellebuck, but buckled down nicely there in game two. Um, I'm interested to see how he performs once they go back to St. Louis because now the series is shifting. Bennington, a little maybe a little shaky in game one. I thought he played fine in game two overall, but yeah, this series is coming down to Winnipeg, I think. Just being deeper. They come in waves in St. Louis. They just can't generate many quality chances right now. That's how I feel about that. Do you guys think in game three St. Louis can get one?
I don't know if it's game three or four, but I do think they steal one at home.
I agree. I would think they find a way to win one of those games, probably.
Well, we'll hop over to the other. Well, we had three Western games last night. We'll do the 9:30 time slot. We had Dallas and Colorado, and now that series is knotted up at one. Game one, Colorado took by a score of 5-1, but don't let that deceive you. That game was a lot closer than a 5-1 game. That kind of busted out loose late in the third. And then last night, game two, Dallas wins 4-3 in overtime. A thriller, great back and forth matchup. Um, there's a lot to digest here, but just overall impressions of what you've seen in this series so far.
Dallas dug really deep last night and found a way to win that game because it looked for a minute like they could be dead in the water and we could be looking at a really short series here. Don't want to head into Denver down 2-0. They clearly sensed what was at stake there, and I think whoever was calling that game, I can't remember, said it well. Basically, just said, this is not an elimination game, but it kind of feels like one right now because everyone on that Dallas bench knows how bad it is if they lose another game at home to start the series. So, um, credit to Jamie Benn. I know we were pretty harsh on him last year, and rightfully so, I think, but he in that third period just seemed to will that team to tying the game and eventually to winning it. He's a dog out there and you can tell how bad he wants it.
Yeah, it's like 2009 Jamie Benn all over again.
He had a good playoffs last year, but regular season this year maybe not as good as his performance last year. I think uh, Why is his name escaping me? Blackwood. Yes, goalie for Colorado. It's early, fellas. Sorry. I think he's played great, and that's a huge bonus if you're a Colorado fan. Despite the loss last night, I think he's made some great timely saves for you guys. He looks pretty dialed in. It's a huge upgrade over what you started the season with. So, like, I would say going into Denver 1-1, I'm fine. Obviously, Landeskog has not played yet. He took warm-ups last night. They took the A off Devon Taves' jersey because they had the C back on Landeskog, so everyone thought it was going to happen. I think they're saving it for game three. That's going to be an emotionally charged Colorado crowd. That's going to be tough for Dallas to compete with, but I would imagine he'll come back in game three. But McKinnon, dude, like he's just a freak. Like I feel like we use that word a lot, but he's already got 3 goals in the series. And that left like hash mark wrist shot that he does on the power play. It's like it's from Ovi's office, but he doesn't one time it. He'll just cradle the puck and it's just like almost like sauce shot. I don't know how he does it, but it's money every time.
He's unbelievable. I think you make a great point, Harry, about Blackwood. He looked fantastic last night. I thought Ottinger looked great at times too, but I think something both of these teams are going to want to fix for game three is both of them gave up goals within the final minutes of periods last night. And that's just something you can't do in the Stanley Cup playoffs if you want to, close a series out.
Yep, that Logan O'Connor goal was unreal. Maybe the prettiest or most impressive goal of the playoffs so far. Make sure you check out a replay if you haven't seen that one yet. And how about Evgeny Dadonov, boys? I mean, this is what's so fun about playoffs. You never know who's going to step up and score that clutch goal for you. This guy scored 4 goals in his final 25 games of the regular season, and that's including one game he had a hat trick. So basically, the guy scores in 2 of his final 25 games and is quiet the rest of them. And then he's the guy who comes up with the clutch game tying goal halfway through the third. And then holy crap, how about that how about that OT winner, eh?
That's amazing.
That fourth line for Dallas, that Sam Steele, Colin Blackwell line,
Yeah.
both those guys played 2 gigantic roles in this game. That Thomas
Mm-hmm.
Harley goal,
Yeah.
uh, for Dallas, Sam Steele's in on the forecheck, kind of digs the puck out, knocks the guy off the puck, makes a great dish, and then Blackwell, obviously, like you said, the OT winner. Like that's where the playoffs are won is those depth guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I said when we were doing our series previews, it's, Thomas Harley was going to need to step up for this Dallas team with Miro out, and he absolutely did.
Yeah, he's looked fantastic so far. They can really trust that guy. I think he's slowly but surely establishing himself as like actually one of the top. I'll say he's a solid top 4 pairing defenseman at this point, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So we're gonna get some game three, maybe predictions here, if you will. We'll probably get Landeskog back. We maybe will get Heiskanen back. Apparently he's skating now. And shout out to Tyler Sagan. I know he just came back from injury, got a goal in this one off a beautiful feed. I believe it was Marchment. Um, so what we thinking for game three?
I feel like it just comes down to if Landeskog plays. Like if he plays, I just don't see a world where Dallas wins that game.
Yeah.
I agree, and not even necessarily because he's gonna score a million goals or anything. I just think the energy boost it gives them is going to be impossible not to or impossible to play against.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with you on that. I would probably tend to agree. We'll toss it off to LA and Edmonton, the late night game from last night, and what an absolute crapshoot this game turned out to be. If you didn't get to watch, go watch the highlights, but a 6-5 finish is the final score, right? Is that what we got? Six
Just
five
about,
finish.
yeah.
And LA was up 4-0 at one point, and McDavid had 4 points in a period in 2 seconds. So it was quite the finish here. Mac, I think you probably caught most of this game. I'll kind of let you lead off.
Yeah, I think the Oilers were basically just late to the game. That's the best way that I can describe it. They were totally just not present at the beginning. The Kings were having their way. Um, Leon eventually gets a goal, and then Jeff Skinner gets his first NHL points on a Matthias Janmark goal. So shout out to Skinner for that one. 1,000 and something regular season games. Finally gets his first look at the playoffs, gets a point. Pretty cool. But yeah, the rest of the game, I mean, we all know that this Edmonton team, they're never out of it. They're too fast, they're too skilled, and you can't take your foot off the gas. And the Kings kind of did that. I almost see it similar to the Cap situation though, where it's like the Kings get a cheap lesson out of this one. They still get to walk away with the victory, but can also look themselves in the mirror and say, "Whoa, that was a close one." But now we kind of know that we can't get complacent there late in the game. So cheap lesson. Um, what was I? There was one other point I was going to make. Oh, Darcy Kemper. I don't know if that's going to be an issue moving forward or not. I think I don't know how much you
Yeah.
can put on him
Yeah.
for that. It's not like I can really look at any one of those goals and be like, that's brutal. But I mean, it's 5 goals.
Yeah.
You gotta probably
You can almost look at like other goalies though and go, hey, I think Helly would have got that. Hey, I think
yeah.
LT would have got that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have an opinion on that? Maybe you didn't. I know you didn't probably see most of that game, so maybe we'll circle back on that one. But he definitely didn't look quite as rock solid as he's been for that team all season long.
Yeah, I think it's early. I mean, it's one game, so I don't know if I'm ready to like hit the panic button on him yet, but definitely something that's going to be a talking point for every game now going forward.
I did watch the highlights, so I saw the goals. Both goalies, we already know about Skinner. You guys have been saying it. It's why you picked LA.
The
It's
whole crowd was going
That was amazing.
Skinner.
yeah, it was a tough first half of that game for Edmonton, no doubt about it. In terms of Kemper, as I'm watching all the goals, first off, and I hate to, be blowing McDavid this hard, but like every assist he had was insane. It's not like he was just throwing pucks, you know, to the net and it was just getting deflected and rebounded. He was schooling everybody. I think it was his second assist on the Hyman goal. Was it Hyman goal? Yeah. He put Gavrikov in a blender. And
Yeah.
Gavrikov is a legit defender, but he's just got this way of like stopping on a dime at the same time he's getting a pass, and Gavrikov's just like falling everywhere. I know the announcers were bitching that when he like gets by people, he tends to put his arm out and like hold their stick. A lot of Kings fans online.
Kings fans are pissed about that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. And even his goal, like I thought it was a little weak by Kemper, but I guess I can't really ever fault anyone for getting scored on by 97 because it's kind of hard
Right.
to do that. But the Kings, I do think, are deeper. They got a little more depth. I got to give them a shout out for this Andrei Kuzmenko trade. I don't
Yep.
think any of us thought that was going to be like anything significant. 3 points in this game, leads off the scoring with a goal. He's looked great. He's been a great addition for them.
Yeah, I mean, Mac, I think you nailed it when you drew the comparison to the Caps game. You know, this is just a little bit more of a cracked out version of it, a West Coast version of it, if you will. But like, I mean, the start that the Kings had in that first period was electric. To carry a 2-0 lead into that locker room against the Edmonton Oilers, who's had your number for the last 4 years, was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I do think that this is the best version of this Kings team that we've seen face the Oilers. So that's kind of why I'm big on the Kings this time around, and why I think we'll have a real good series.
And last thing I'll say on that game-winning Deneau goal, as good as McDavid played, he has the puck in the King's end on that goal, and he kind of tries to do just like this little chip backhand dump in, and someone on LA ends up swatting it down. They turn around, go the other way, goal. So, as good as he played, you got to sometimes get that puck a little deeper than he did there. So, game two predictions. What are we thinking? I feel like LA might win again.
I'm gonna go Kings, get it another one
Yeah,
at home.
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think it's going to be tighter, I would hope. Um, I don't know. I still think Edmonton's going to win the series, despite me picking LA for game one. So we'll see how that plays out. I think when they get back to Alberta, that's going to be a different animal. All right, let's hop off to let's see what's a series
Like a
that we
Vegas mini, finish out the West here.
that series is over. It's done. I'm serious. Like it's done. It's all like I watched that one pretty closely the day after because NHL Network was replaying. This series is over. I don't know how else to say it. Uh nobody for the Golden Knights Like Eichel or I'm trying to think. I guess Eichel would be the main one, but they're getting the depth scoring, and their best player doesn't have to do anything, and they're still taking care of Minnie. And similar to like Montreal, I think Minnie's a one-line team, personally.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it's over. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that one line though, holy shit! Some of the plays that Kaprizov was making, that slap pass, it's like an area slap pass. I've never, I mean, that is just next level, like hockey IQ play right there. So, but I will agree with you that they don't look deep enough right now. Um,
I
some of the officiating in that game questionable. I think you could probably say that about most of the series so far. It's easy to, nitpick stuff. Um, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, Mac, I know you talked about rookies Snuggerud and Bolduc being on the ice for the Blues when they're trying to tie a game up late. That's exactly what the Wild did with their rookie Zeev Buiam. And, he's obviously an incredibly talented player, but, does try and make a little bit of a cross ice pass that ends up going the other way on the empty net. But I think that just shows you, we've talked about it. They're just not deep enough. And, you know, not saying that they're a bad team, not saying I don't think they could make this a close series, but yeah, I'd say this one's probably over.
I mean, I'm looking at Eichel and Stone. Neither of them have to do anything, and they kind of cakewalk it. And how about Brett Howden? Like
Yeah.
sneaky, the quietest 20 goal season ever, and he's a fourth line player. He gets two in this game.
Yeah, I think let's slow our roll here for a second. It's one game, all right? So I don't know why we're saying the series is over,
It's over.
but uh I think I expect to see some fight out of Mini. I think they will come back, get one, make this interesting, and we'll go from there.
I think they could
Game.
steal an OT win or two.
I think in terms of game two predictions, I think Vegas is going to take another one, and I think Eichel's going to wake up because that's like one of the things when the favored team wins and yet none of their like big impact players make an impact. I immediately think, well, now they're going to make an impact and they're going to win by more, and that's I don't know if that's right or not, but
Fair, but you're never in trouble till you lose at home. So
Well
this
said.
is this is true. And hopefully that stands true for all the teams who lost on the road because that's a lot of them, everyone except for Colorado so far. So the home ice advantage has been pretty evident. And how about that 11 p.m. start time tonight on Tuesday as you're listening to this? I don't know if I will make it to that, so we'll be highlight watching the next day.
That is just ridiculous.
We don't have anything for Tampa or Florida yet. We haven't even had game one, which is pretty nuts. That game one starts tonight at 8:30. I don't know how the NHL is like going about these scheduling times. I think they're trying to have like games on without intermission breaks at the same time. So I guess good job, but we've got a 6 p.m. start time for Carolina, Jersey. I guess we can hop into that one right now. Carolina wins game one, 4-1, and it was probably the most textbook Carolina Hurricanes playoff game you've ever watched. Just shoots an insane amount of pucks, forecheck like a bunch of wild hyenas on raw meat. It was insane to watch, and Jersey had absolutely no answer.
Yeah, the Devils are in serious trouble. I know we were just talking about Mini and how they might be in trouble, but yeah, the Devils are in serious trouble. And mainly that's because they just seem to be dropping like flies in that first game, too. I mean, I know this sucks because the player got hurt, but genuinely one of the funniest things I've seen all season is a goalie trying to slash someone and ending up slashing his own player.
yeah, that's a big yakety sax moment right there for sure. Just some clown stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, you guys want to talk about series that are over after one game. This one, I don't feel like there's any way the Devils. I mean, I kind of felt that way before we even watched game one, but this is just I don't see any way the Devils make this an interesting series. I really don't.
No, I don't either. And I don't know if you guys saw the highlight, but I can't his first name's escaping me. It's something Russian, obviously, but that Nishkin, that
Nikishin,
defenseman.
I think.
Yeah, that defenseman from Russia, like they're saying he's like the best defenseman in the world that's not from like the NHL. He comes over, they haven't even used him yet, and like Moore's looking at him like, you know hockey. And he's like nodding his head. I'm like, this is fucked. Like we're what's going on here? Um, but yeah, I don't think Jersey has an answer. Dawson Mercer. I've been seeing a lot of hate for this guy from Devils fans. You know, young player, very skilled, had a really good season last year, I believe, but um, kind of, I think, tends to shy away when the games get really physical. And I think that's what we're seeing a little bit at the moment. He's going to have to do something with Jack Hughes out, obviously.
Yeah, I think there was a stupid delay game penalty too there, if I remember correctly. So,
Yes.
yeah, definitely someone that needs to step up.
Yes, for sure. Game two predictions. We've got that one this evening.
Yeah, Carolina by a billion.
I feel like just more of the same. I mean, New Jersey literally needs every depth player to step up and Markstrom to like have like a 35 save, like sub 150 GAA tonight to be able
Yeah.
to hold a candle to these guys. So
I know we poo-poo Carolina all the time, but like genuinely, Logan Stankoven might be the best playoff performer out of like this young guns group of like the last 2, 3 years of like
it
rookies.
they're certainly looking pretty smart for that part of that acquisition with all that trade drama.
Yeah. And honestly, like respect due, I have to give it to them for that atmosphere. They were buzzing in that building. I mean, it was crazy loud in there.
Yep, Stank gets a pair of goals. The second goal, a sweet snipe off the rush. Taylor Hall with a great feed there. Taylor Hall's played great for Carolina since coming over. I think he's been exactly as advertised. Maybe not, your first line guy who's going to win you the game, but a solid like middle six guy who's going to get you some timely plays. So he's looked great. And Luke Hughes, he came back into the game, but a little dinged up there in the third period. If that ends up going south for Jersey, this is Carolina in three. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Exactly.
So game two this evening, we'll see how it shakes out. I think Jersey's up against this is David and Goliath feeling all of a sudden. But um, last Eastern Series, the Battle of Ontario, the Leafs and the Senators. This one got out of hand pretty badly at the end of the game. We'll talk about that in a sec. But Toronto takes this one 6-2. They had six different goal scorers in this game. Marner, Nylander, and Matthews, those three always get the most attention. They combined for 7 points. Marner led the game in scoring with 3 points himself, so that's pretty big for Mitch, given all the playoff accusations he gets over the past couple years. Um, Toronto, three power play goals. That was really the difference. Ottawa was living in the box this game. We had Toronto fans chanting Brady sucks, which was quite the choice. I don't know if that one's going to age all that well. And Anthony Stolarz, he's now won 9 straight starts, even though I've heard that he might be a little dinged up. But your reaction to game one in Toronto?
Yeah, the Leafs just came out and on the scoreboard just punched the Senators right in the mouth. And I think the Senators were like, okay, yeah, we're definitely in for one here. And they got to stay out of the box, man. I mean, it was a parade to the penalty box for Ottawa. That's just a death sentence in a series like that and up against a power play like that.
Yeah, I will say I think this one I wouldn't hit the panic meter that hard if I'm the Senators. I really liked how they came out and started that game. I think that they were putting the pressure on Toronto for the first 10 or so minutes of the first. That looked like a great start. You know, something to build off of for next game. Excuse me, something to hang your hat on. So I this is the one series that I think differs from some of the other ones we've talked about that were like a little bit of a blowout in the scorecard. After game one, I don't think the Senators need to change all that much other than just stay out of the box. Like that's really the big thing. I mean, what Toronto had like three power play goals or something like that. Take those
Yeah.
away, and it's one goal game. So.
So Ottawa doesn't dress Nick Cousins, and I'm wondering if that changes in game two, even though as we're talking about penalty minutes, I'm not sure that exactly helps with that one. But he's a guy who, can be a shit stirrer, maybe change some momentum, get you a timely hit, throw Toronto off focus. Um, I don't
Wasn't he
know.
running his mouth a little bit before this series started
Probably. I didn't see the exact quotes,
to
but I would
then get
imagine.
scratched in game one? That's hilarious.
I think Toronto, I picked them to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. It does feel different for me somehow. Like the D is kind of bigger and mean. They've got Carlo, they've got Tanev, they've got McCabe, guys who are like going to sacrifice the body. They've got Berube behind the bench. Like they just have a different demeanor, it feels
Do
like.
you guys think this is the most complete Leafs team in the AM34 era?
I would say so.
Yeah, I'm on that. I
Yep.
think for sure. Especially with Nyes like
Yeah.
developing into how he got a
Yeah.
goal in this one.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying this one's done in like 4 or 5. I do still think it'll go 6, but I wouldn't be shocked if Toronto takes game 2.
I also think it's the most confident Leafs team we've seen in the AM34 era. They're definitely playing with a little bit more of like, hey, we've done this before. We know if we get down how to get back in this. We know if we lose a game how to get it back, that kind of thing. So it seems like they're
Yeah.
just like a little bit more, dialed after what they've had to go through for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What are your thoughts on all the chaos at the end of the game? There was a lot going on there. There was some scrums. Nick Jensen tackled, I can't remember who, by like the head around the bench. Like Leafs fans were losing their fucking mind over that. Um, you think this is going to get out of hand in game 2?
People
Probably.
people forget Nick Jensen's kind of a rough customer. Like you
Yeah.
don't you don't always think of him that way, but if you piss that guy off, he can chuck him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think easily the funniest thing so far in the playoffs, other than a goalie slashing his own player basically in the groin, was the referee essentially needing a clipboard and a sheet of paper to read off the penalties at the end of this, and
That was
literally him
good.
just dropping like 8 numbers in a row, be like, okay, they have 2 minutes for roughing. And he's
Yeah.
like, and then for Ottawa, like goes over and does
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
Sens penalties too. It's great.
But no, I think in terms of like I hate you hockey, this is maybe number one so far. I mean, these teams we knew would be at each other's throats from the get-go, but I mean that is exactly what we got, and I don't expect that to change.
Max Domi lost his goddamn mind in the last like 10 minutes of that game just with everything going on. So that's gonna be a really fun game too to watch. Allmark, not great. 750 save percentage, let in 6 goals on 24 shots. They're definitely gonna need him to step up a little more here in game 2.
One thing that we're not talking about that we ought to be is that Senators fans might have cursed the team with that god awful cover of song 2 or
What was
whatever.
that? Like,
Bad, very bad.
Oh my
what? Whose
God.
idea was that?
Dude,
I
I like
I'm
there's
not sure.
always something like that that comes out every year from some fan base. And I saw like the Canadians did some kind of like Demidov song that I thought was pretty cringeworthy. And I was sending that to my Habs fan friends, being like, "Oh, you guys just cursed yourself with the cringe." And then I saw the Ottawa one. I was like, "Okay, that is that is actually so bad."
Yeah. Um, all right, so I failed on the everyday parlay last night. Tough to hit a four-legger. So let's do it. Let's get something on air here. Which one of you two is going to go tonight? Maybe we get a one of you guys cook up a parlay before we wrap up here, or maybe you can do it together. We'll see.
Oh boy.
Who wants to step up to the plate?
Let me take a look at the slate here.
Looking into my crystal ball, and I have a feeling Sebastian Aho scores tonight.
Oh, okay. Let's play a little speed bag here, and then we can wrap up. Devils Hurricanes. Who you got?
Canes.
Canes.
I'm in agreement. Senators Leafs. Who you got?
Sens.
Sens.
Leafs. Panthers Lightning. Game 1. Who you got?
Tampa.
Cats. I think the Cats get game one.
I'm gonna take you with Cats as well. And then we've got Mini in Vegas at 11 p.m. Eastern. Who we got?
Vegas.
I'll say Minnie gets this one because nobody's going to be watching, and the when the lights are down low and the stakes feel a little less high, maybe they'll steal one.
I'm gonna ride with Vegas. Um, yeah, should be a good 4 game evening yet again. Is there any series that you feel just from the start after seeing the first few games is just destined to go 7?
Yeah, I just really don't want to say it.
Say
Yeah,
it.
I
No,
know.
You
I
have to.
I think it's Leafs sense.
Okay.
I would actually go with Oilers Kings.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I could see that one. I'm starting as an Avs guy. I'm a little nervous. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. Dallas has put up a pretty good fight so far.
Yeah.
The thing with Dallas is like they do kind of the goal scoring by committee thing. So it's
Yes.
like if
It's
they all
tough.
go quiet, it's a problem. But if like two or three of them really start lighting it up, like if Hintz starts putting the puck in the net, then it could be a problem.
Yeah, if I'm Dallas and I walk out of this 1-1 and you don't have
Especially all the
Heiskanen
yeah, exactly. With
and
all the injuries
Robertson,
considered, I
yeah,
think I think you're chilling with that.
yeah, it's going to be a different animal in Colorado, but I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how they rebound. But anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up? I know we got a time slot here.
Let's go Caps.
I can't wait to go to work. I'm so excited to go to work right now.
Well, there's your morning episode of Empty Betters recapping the first couple games of the playoffs. We'll be back with you guys later this week. Enjoy the playoff hockey. Congrats to you Caps fans, and hope you guys celebrate while you got the chance. That's all I'll say. So.